Book 1 of Trivia, or the Art of Walking the Streets of London, by John Gay. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Advertisement. The world, I believe, will take so little notice of me that I need not take much of it. The critics may see by this poem that I walk on foot, which probably may save me from their envy. I should be sorry to raise that passion in men whom I am so much obliged to, since they allowed me an honour hitherto only shown to better writers, that of denying me to be the author of my own works. I am sensible this must be done in pure generosity, because whoever writ them, provided they did not themselves, they are still in the same condition. Gentlemen, if there be anything in this poem good enough to displease you, and if it be any advantage to you to ascribe it to some person of greater merit, I shall acquaint you for your comfort, that among many other obligations, I owe several hints of it to Dr. Swift. And if you will so far continue your favour as to write against it, I beg you to oblige me in accepting the following motto: Non tu in triviis indocte solebas didenti miserum stipula disperdere carmen. Book 1 of the Implements for Walking the Streets and Signs of the Weather. Through winter streets to steer your course aright, how to walk clean by day and safe by night, how jostling crowds with prudence to decline, when to assert the wall and when resign. I sing, thou Trivia, goddess aid my song, through spacious streets conduct thy bard along. By thee transported, I securely stray where winding alleys lead the doubtful way, the silent court and opening square explore, and long perplexing lanes untrod before. To pave thy realm and smooth the broken ways, earth from her womb a flinty tribute pays. For thee, the sturdy pavior thumps the ground, whilst every stroke his labouring lungs resound. For thee, the scavenger bids kennels glide within their bounds, and heaps of dirt subside. My youthful bosom burns with thirst of fame, from the great theme to build a glorious name, to tread in paths to ancient bards unknown, and bind my temples with a civic crown. But more, my country's love demands the lays, my country's be the profit, mine the praise. When the black youth at chosen stands rejoice, and "Clean your shoes" resounds from every voice; when late their miry sides stage-coaches show, and their stiff horses through the town move slow; when all the mall in leafy ruin lies, and damsels first renew their oyster cries, then let the prudent walker shoes provide, not of the Spanish or Morocco hide. The wooden heel may raise the dancer's bound, and with the scallop top his step be crowned. Let firm well-hammer'd soles protect thy feet through freezing snows, and rains, and soaking sleet. Should the big last extend the shoe too wide, each stone will wrench the unwary step aside. The sudden turn may stretch the swelling vein, thy cracking joint unhinge, or ankle sprain. And when too short the modish shoes are worn, you'll judge the seasons by your shooting corn. Nor should it prove thy less important care to choose a proper coat for winter's wear. Now in thy trunk thy doily habit fold, the silken drugget ill can fence the cold. The frieze's spongy nap is soaked with rain, and showers soon drench the camlet's cockled grain. True Whitney broadcloth with its shag unshorn, unpierced is in the lasting tempest worn. Be this the horseman's fence, for who would wear amid the town the spoils of Russia's bear? Within the Rocklaw's clasp thy hands are pent, hands that stretched forth invading harms prevent. Let the loop'd Bavaroy the fop embrace, or his deep cloak be spattered o'er with lace. That garment best the winter's rage defends, whose shapeless form in ample plaits depends. by various names in various Counties known, yet held in all the true Sawtooth alone. Be thine of Kersey firm, though small the Cost, then brave unwet the Rain, unchill'd the Frost. If the strong Cane support thy walking Hand, Chairman no longer shall the Wall command, Even sturdy Carmen shall thy Nod obey, And rattling Coaches stop to make thee way. This shall direct thy cautious Tread aright, Though not one glaring Lamp enliven Night. Let Beaux their Canes with Amber tipt produce, Be theirs for empty Show, but thine for use. In gilded Chariots while they loll at ease, And lazily insure a Life's Disease, While softer Chairs the tawdry Load convey To Court, to Wights, Assemblies, or the Play. Rosy complexion'd Health thy Steps attends, And Exercise thy lasting Youth defends. Imprudent Men Heaven's choicest Gifts profane, Thus some beneath their Arms support the Cane. The dirty Point oft checks the careless Pace, And miry Spots thy clean Cravat disgrace. Oh, may I never such Misfortune meet, May no such vicious Walkers crowd the Street. May Providence o'ershade me with her Wings, While the bold Muse experienc'd Dangers sings. Not that I wander from my native Home, And tempting Perils foreign Cities roam. Let Paris be the Theme of Gallia's Muse, Where Slav'ry treads the Streets in wooden Shoes. Nor do I rove in Belgia's frozen Clime, And teach the clumsy Boor to skate in Rhyme; Where, if the warmer Clouds in Rain descend, No miry Ways industrious Steps offend. The rushing Flood from sloping Pavements pours, And blackens the Canals with dirty Showers. Let others Naples' smoother Streets rehearse, And with proud Roman Structures grace their Verse; Where frequent Murders wake the Night with Groans, And Blood in purple Torrents dyes the Stones. Nor shall the Muse through narrow Venice stray, Where Gondolas their painted Oars display. O happy Streets to rumbling Wheels unknown, No Carts, no Coaches shake the floating Town. Thus was of old Britannia's City blest, Ere the Pride and Luxury her Sons possess'd. Coaches and Chariots yet unfashion'd lay, Nor late invented Chairs perplex'd the way. Then the proud Lady tripp'd along the Town, And tuck'd up Petticoats secur'd her Gown. Her rosy Cheek with distant Visits glow'd, And Exercise unartful Charms bestow'd. But since in braided Gold her Foot is bound, And a long trailing Manteau sweeps the Ground, Her Shoe disdains the Street. The lazy Fair With narrow Step affects a limping Air. Now gaudy Pride corrupts the lavish Age, And the Streets flame with glaring Equipage. The tricking Gamester insolently rides, With Loves and Graces on his Chariot's sides. In saucy State the griping Broker sits, And laughs at Honesty and trudging Wits. For you, O honest Men, these useful Lays the Muse prepares, I seek no other Praise. When Sleep is first disturb'd by Morning Cries, From sure Prognosticks learn to know the Skies. Lest you of Rheums and Coughs at Night complain, Surpris'd in dreary Fogs, or driving Rain, When suffocating Mists obscure the Morn, Let thy worst Wig, long us'd to Storms, be worn. This knows the powder'd Footman, and with Care Beneath his flapping Hat secures his Hair. Be thou for every Season justly drest, Nor brave the piercing Frost with open Breast. And when the bursting Clouds a Deluge pour, Let thy Surtout defend the drenching Shower. The changing Weather certain Signs reveal, Ere Winter sheds her Snow, or Frosts congeal, You'll see the Coals in brighter Flame aspire, And Sulphur tinge with blue the rising Fire. Your tender Shins the scorching Heat decline, And at the Dearth of Coals the poor repine. Before her Kitchen Hearth the nodding Dame, In Flannel Mantle wrapt, enjoys the Flame. Hovering upon her feeble Knees she bends, And all around the grateful Warmth ascends. Nor do less certain Signs the Town advise Of milder Weather and serener Skies. The ladies gaily dress'd, them all adorn With various dyes, and paint the sunny morn. The wanton Fawns with frisking Pleasure range, And chirping Sparrows greet the welcome Change. Not that their Minds with greater Skill are fraught, Endued by Instinct, or by Reason taught. The Seasons operate on every Breast, 'Tis hence that Fawns are brisk, and Ladies drest. When on his Box the nodding Coachman snores, And dreams of fancy'd Fairs; when Tavern Doors The Chairmen idly crowd, then ne'er refuse To trust thy busy Steps in thinner Shoes. But when the swinging Signs your Ears offend With creaking Noise, then rainy Floods impend. Soon shall the Kennels swell with rapid Streams, And rush in muddy Torrents to the Thames. The Bookseller, whose Shop's an open Square, Foresees the Tempest, and with early Care Of Learning strips the Rails. The Rowing Crew to tempt a Fair, Clothe all their Tilts in blue. On hosiers' Poles depending, Stockings tied, Flag with the slacken'd Gale from side to side. Church Monuments foretell the changing Air, Then Niobe dissolves into a Tear, And sweats with secret Grief. You'll hear the Sounds of whistling Winds, ere Kennels break their Bounds. Ungrateful Odours common Shores diffuse, And dropping Vaults distil unwholesome Dews, Ere the Tiles rattle with the smoking Shower, And Spouts on heedless Men their Torrents pour. All Superstition from thy Breast repel, Let credulous Boys and prattling Nurses tell, How if the Festival of Paul be clear, Plenty from liberal Horn shall strow the Year. When the dark Skies dissolve in Snows or Rain, The lab'ring Hind shall yoke the Steer in vain. But if the threat'ning Winds in Tempests roar, Then War shall bathe her wasteful Sword in Gore. How if on Swithin's Feast the Welkin low'rs, And every Penthouse streams with hasty Show'rs, Twice 20 Days shall Clouds their Fleeces drain, And wash the Pavements with incessant Rain. Let not such vulgar Tales debase thy Mind, Nor Paul nor Swithin rule the Clouds and Wind. If you the Precepts of the Muse despise, And slight the faithful Warnings of the Skies, Others you'll see, when all the Town's afloat, Wrapt i' the Embraces of a Kersey Coat, Or double button'd Frieze. Their guarded Feet defy the muddy Dangers of the Street, While you, with Hat unloop'd, the Fury dread Of Spouts high streaming, and with cautious Tread Shun every dashing Pool, or idly stop To seek the kind Protection of a Shop. But Business summons. Now with hasty Scud You jostle for the Wall, the spatter'd Mud Hides all thy Hose behind. In vain you scour, thy Wig, alas, uncurl'd admits the Shower. So fierce Alecto's snaky Tresses fell, When Orpheus charm'd the rigorous Powers of Hell. Or thus hung Glaucus's Beard with briny Dew, Clotted and straight, when first his amorous View Surpris'd the bathing Fair. The frighted Maid now stands a Rock, transform'd by Circe's Aid. Good Huswives, all the Winter's Rage despise, Defended by the Riding Hood's disguise. Or underneath the Umbrella's oily Shed, Safe through the Wet, on clinking Pattens tread. Let Persian Dames the Umbrella's Ribs display, To guard their Beauties from the sunny Ray. Or sweating Slaves support the shady Load, When Eastern Monarchs show their State abroad. Britain in Winter only knows its aid, To guard from chilly Show'rs the walking Maid. But oh! forget not, Muse, the Pattern's Praise, That Female Implement shall grace thy Lays. Say from what Art divine th' Invention came, And from its Origin deduce the Name. Where Lincoln wide extends her fenny Soil, A goodly Yeoman liv'd grown white with Toil. One only Daughter bless'd his nuptial Bed, Who from her infant Hand the Poultry fed. Martha, her careful Mother's Name, she bore, But now her careful Mother was no more. Whilst on her Father's Knee the Damsel play'd, Patty he fondly call'd the smiling Maid. As Years increas'd her ruddy Beauty grew, And Patty's Fame o'er all the Village flew. Soon as the blushing Morning warms the Skies, And in the doubtful Day the Woodcock flies, Her cleanly Pail the pretty Huswife bears, And singing to the distant Field repairs. And when the Plains with Ev'ning Dews are spread, The milky Burthen smokes upon her Head. Deep through a miry Lane she pick'd her way, Above her Ankle rose the chalky Clay. Vulcan by chance the bloomy Maiden spies, With Innocence and Beauty in her Eyes. He saw, he lov'd, for yet he ne'er had known Sweet Innocence and Beauty meet in one. Ah, Mulciber, recall thy nuptial Vows, Think on the Graces of thy Paphian Spouse, Think how her Eyes dart in exhausted Charms, And canst thou leave her Bed for Patty's Arms? The Lemnian Pow'r forsakes the Realms above, His Bosom glowing with terrestrial Love. Far in the Lane a lonely Hut he found, No Tenants ventur'd on th' unwholesome Ground. Here smokes his Forge, he bares his sinewy Arm, And early strokes the sounding Anvil warm. Around his Shop the steely Sparkles flew, As for the Steed he shap'd the bending Shoe. When blue-ey'd Patty near his Window came, His Anvil rests, his Forge forgets to flame. To hear his soothing Tales she feigns delays, What Woman can resist the Force of Praise? At first she coyly every Kiss withstood, And all her Cheek was flush'd with modest Blood. With headless Nails he now surrounds her Shoes, To save her Steps from Rains and piercing Dews. She lik'd his soothing Tales, his Presence wore, And granted Kisses, but would grant no more. Yet Winter chill'd her Feet, with Cold she pines, And on her Cheek the fading Rose declines. No more her humid Eyes their Lustre boast, And in hoarse Sounds her melting Voice is lost. This Vulcan saw, and in his heavenly Thought A new Machine mechanick Fancy wrought. Above the Mire her shelter'd Steps to raise, And bear her safely through the wintry Ways. Straight the new Engine on his Anvil glows, And the pale Virgin on the Patten Rose. No more her Lungs are shook with dropping Rheums, And on her Cheek reviving Beauty blooms. The God obtain'd his Suit, though Flatt'ry fail, Presence with Female Virtue must prevail. The Patten now supports each frugal Dame, Which from the blue-ey'd Patty takes the Name. Book 1.